Ladies and gentlemen, it's here. Week 10. It sounds crazy. We are in double-digit weeks in the NFL season. This is the Parlay, the best television show not on television, brought to you by Awthentik and The Beard. We're going to do our best to eliminate all of those Bill Belichick-like walk of shames, shirtless at that, for your fantasy football teams and NFL bets. Without further ado, let me bring in the man, the myth, the legend, the best co-host in the whole damn universe, Mr. Awthentik. Welcome to the show, sir.
How I'm the best co-host when you the best co-host?
I mean, listen, that's what I'm saying, man. We're both co-hosts, and we're both the best. It works out well.
It's a good tie here. We got a good push here going on Awthentik and The Beard. Shout out to everybody in the chat, man. I'm ready to get right to it, man. Some good games today, man. Outside of my own, I must say, our game is not looking too great, but yeah, we're gonna get there.
Listen, don't feel too bad. I was doing the tickers this morning early, and I was like, there's literally like, I'd say 75 to 80, let's say 85% of the games, the over-unders are under 40 points. So listen, there was a college football game yesterday, an Iowa game. The over-under was 29, I think, and it hit. The under hit. They went under 29 points. So
that's crazy.
Which is crazy in college football. But yeah, like you said, big shout out to everybody in the chat. We appreciate everybody watching across all the streaming platforms. That's Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, and of course, right here on YouTube. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up while you guys are here. Please put those questions in the comment section if you guys have any questions regarding your fantasy football lineups. Awthentik and myself will guide you through those and answer them to the best of our abilities. And then we're going to hit every single game. We're going to pick winners, losers, overs, unders, and spreads for each and every game this week. Without further ado, we're going to jump right into it, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to talk about the guys that should probably put on your bench this week. We're going to start with the sit-em sections for Week 10 of fantasy football. All right, Awthentik, who's sitting on the bench this week, Coach?
All right, I'm going with a couple of Packers here, man. Not feeling the way that offense has been moving as of lately. I'm going Jordan Love at the Steelers. He's thrown for less than 230 yards in 4 straight games and has more interceptions than passing touchdowns since week 2. I'm also going to sit his homie out there at the X-wide receiver position, Christian Watson. I know that's your guy right there. 6.3 points per game in fantasy in 3 games in a row. He hasn't scored more than 11.6 in 5 games this season. Only one receiver has scored a touchdown against Pittsburgh in the past 4 games. Now, I learned my lesson by starting Will Levis against the Pittsburgh Steelers defense after he had that monster 4-touchdown game. That didn't work out, so I'm sitting both of them today. And I'm going Broncos running backs versus the Bills today. I just think that's a tough matchup for them, that Bills defense trying to get right to.
You know what's interesting about those Broncos running backs? Javonte Williams has been playing pretty well since he's came back from injury, but it is a tough matchup against that Buffalo defense. I will also double down on the Watson in more ways than one. We're going to talk about Christian Watson first. Yes, you talked about the point totals, and it's crazy because that's not double-digit points since week 5. He hasn't had more than 3 catches in a game all year long. So it's unfortunate because I was kind of looking forward to, you said that's my guy. I was looking forward to some Love Watson action. It has not panned out so far this year. That is for sure, except outside of those first 2 games when he returned from injury. And then talking about Watsons, I'm going to go Deshaun Watson. Baltimore defense, number 1 against the quarterback in fantasy football this year. So I haven't been able to grasp Deshaun Watson yet this year.
Two good games.
I was going to say, Awthentik did point out to me he has had a couple of good games in a row. He
did have the game where he got knocked out between those, so he only had like 5 attempts in that game.
This matchup should be very old school AFC North Central, as I like to commonly refer to that division as. Very run game oriented, I'd imagine. Some defensive plays, a lot of field goal kicking. Could be ugly for the quarterbacks and the skill position players in that game. We do have a couple.
What you think about Lamar? You think Lamar going to be held in check?
I don't know. I hate to say it like this because I don't think he's going to be held in check real football wise, right? Fantasy football wise, I'm not expecting him to have like a 280-yard, 2 touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdown, 50-yard sort of game. I
like
think
the
he
exact
plays
statistics right there. I'm digging that.
You have to do that with a guy like Lamar Jackson. You know what I'm saying?
This will be the part they clip up when Lamar throws for 280 and 2 touchdowns.
Like I would hope so. He's one of my starting quarterbacks in one of my leagues, but it's just that Cleveland defense can play. It has played well and
It's one of the better defenses in the league.
Yeah, but there's been times this season where they've been exposed. And it's been kind of like. It reminds me a lot of the San Francisco defense, where there's weeks where San Francisco's defense shows up, and then there's weeks where they're giving up 30 points. You know what I'm saying? To the Cleveland Browns at that. So for me, it's just I don't expect an explosive game for Lamar. I think they've been leaning heavily on the run game a lot lately with that 3-headed backfield with the rookie Gus Edwards and Justice Hill. So I just expect a lot of running in this game for the Baltimore. I've been wanting to call them Buffalo all day long. The Baltimore Ravens and the Cleveland Browns. And then last but certainly not least, we're going to be benching the New York Giants. There's nobody to really play there. We talked a little bit before we went live, and Awthentik mentioned Saquon, and it's tough for me to but when there's just nobody else, I don't feel like it's going to be so difficult for Saquon to put together a game. But
you saw it against the Jets when they knew, he was going to get the ball on every play pretty much. He still had a pretty good game.
And, it might prove to be a good sleeper pick in a DraftKings sort of situation where nobody's thinking about playing Saquon Barkley, and then you put him in the lineup, and it's like, they just come through with 100 yards and a touchdown, maybe 5 catches for 40 yards on top of that, which would be a really good game, especially in this situation. But it's also a little bit of reverse psychology here. I told Awthentik, generally the rule of thumb this year has been if the Beard tells you to sit him, you usually play him.
That's not good. That's not good for business right there.
Well, not always, but there's been some moments here. DeAndre Hopkins, CeeDee Lamb, just to name a few. So I'm hoping maybe.
CeeDee Lamb been on a tear ever since you said put him on the bench.
I'm telling you, man, they're tuned into Awthentik and the Beard. So, so I'm hoping maybe this lights a fire into the New York Giants offense, and they find a way to squeak out a win against the Dallas Cowboys. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but, I got to sprinkle a little magic dust everywhere I possibly can, and that is a little bit of my magic dust, and that is the people that we are going to be sitting this week in fantasy football. We do have a couple of quick questions to get to. Shout out to our guy Simon in the building. Says fantasy question. Trey McBride, Zach Ertz is still out, Kyler's back, or George Kittle?
I'm going George Kittle.
Listen, I love Trey McBride. Love him to death. And you mentioned 2 of the main situations why I really like him. And I've talked about him multiple times this year, in spot situations. But I think if you, in this sort of situation where we're talking season-long fantasy football, you really got to stick to the guns here, the big guns. I think George Kittle is a guy. I think Kittle has been a very boomer bust sort of situation this year. I do think that because of the struggles of Brock Purdy as of late, I think he's thrown 5 interceptions in his last 3 games. I think they might look towards getting George Kittle the ball more. The tight end is always a position I talk about with backup quarterbacks and quarterbacks looking to get in rhythm. I think that's what they're going to be looking to do offensively, schematically this week. So I look for George Kittle to have a bounce-back game, and I think it's a safer move than Trey McBride, although I do really, really, really like Trey McBride this week. And big shout-out to Mike. Wants to know, says, I need a quarterback. You going to go Baker or Geno? Look.
Ooh, that's tough.
It's tough. And I'm going to be honest with you. I think you have to go Geno Smith. I mean, what has Washington done to prove that they can defend against quarterbacks? Right. They've struggled all year long against the pass. I think the logical move here would be to go Geno Smith.
Yeah, I think Geno's the better quarterback, has a great set of weapons over there, not that Baker doesn't. Geno playing some down football this year. The interceptions are definitely up. It's been a sophomore regression for him for sure, but I like the matchup against Washington, man. That pass defense has not really shown they can stop anybody all year.
We do have another quarterback question in the chat. What's going on? Jared McDonald says, need a bye week QB. Baker, Geno, Kyler, and Dobbs are available. That's an interesting sort of situation of quarterbacks available there. That's tough for me. Where are you going to go?
I still go Geno here. I like Kyler probably as the highest ceiling, highest potential of all the quarterbacks. But Kyler coming back, man, it's been 14 months since he played football. You know, I don't think you can just like throw him out there in your fantasy lineup just guessing. But he might have a big game. You might want to get two quarterbacks here. I don't know who your starter is. You might want to try to scoop up Geno and Kyler because Kyler might have value going into the rest of the year with however many games we have left here. But I like Geno today. I like the matchup against Washington. I think he should be able to throw at least 2 touchdowns today.
I 1,000% have to agree with that. If you're new here, I generally try to stay away from guys the first game back from injury. You know, I'd say it's about a 50-50 split on how they perform, you know, back to normal or, you know, they're getting eased in. It's just a very difficult situation. But I love Awthentic's advice about picking up Kyler and stashing him as far as value goes down the road. Because, you know, if he comes back and he plays anywhere, a lot of people forget Kyler was playing MVP type football for a little bit of time there, you know, for a good 6-8 week stretch.
His sophomore season was his best season where he rushed for he had over 800 yards rushing, and I think it's the most passing yards he's put up in his entire career. Now, he did have a little bit of a regression there before he got hurt, you know, so I think that's why people are a little weary. People are scared. I know in New York, people still think like Kyler Murray's like an average quarterback, and I'm just like, that kid's potential is off the charts. I know he's smaller, harder, more difficult to throw it across the middle and stuff like that for those kind of quarterbacks, but I think he can excel. I don't know if it'll happen this year. That's the one question mark. But the Cardinals did release a video on their Twitter yesterday. It seems like they got full faith in Kyler Murray, and I don't think he's a guy that's going to be traded away after showing a video like that. The rehab video and whatnot seem invested. Yeah,
and I also read an article about, you know, some executives talking about that trade situation and that contract, and they say that it's one of the hardest contracts to move out there. So it's going to be a tough situation.
But now, don't forget, you don't have to move on from him to just draft a quarterback.
Yeah, definitely not. Definitely not. I think that's something that, you know, because you can always play Kyler, you know, and ease a guy in sort of situation. So I don't necessarily think that's the case.
His dead cap hit too. I wonder what the dead cap hit is in a year.
And while Awthentic looks up that dead cap hit, I got to give a big shout out to this guy in the chat. Kane, my guy, what's going on, buddy? Hope all is well, my friend. Good to see you. Appreciate you stopping by. And
Kane in the building. What's going on, bro? That's crazy. I'm gonna hit you up after this stream, Kane. I'm gonna tell you why that's crazy.
A little information from our very own sideline reporter, Marge. We were talking Marge talk early in the chat. Marjorie with the update. Jamar Chase did what was necessary in his warm-ups and will go. Time will tell how effective he is, but expected to be active per Ian Rappaport. Appreciate that, Marge.
Back injury, man. That's going to be tough. Look, I slept on my pillow wrong, and like, man, I'm a back, neck injury. Those are the worst right there, bro. I don't know if Jamar Chase going to have that Jamar Chase-like game today. We'll see, though. Good matchup.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting. You got a dead cap hit number on that, Kyler?
Let's see. Still getting that. Let's see. All right, so his cap hit in 2024 is $51 million. In 2025 is $45 million. And they committed to him. In 2026 is $55 million. In 2027, it's $43 million. Now, look, the dead cap hit situation, though, if you were to cut him, in 2024, it'll cost you $81 million, but you could cut him in 2025, it'll cost you $33 million, or you could cut him in 2026, it'll cost you $20 million. If you cut him in the last year of his contract, it'll be $7.2 million.
That's Kyler Murray will be on the Arizona Cardinals moving forward.
Yeah, now you could compare this to kind of like the Daniel Jones situation, right? The dead cap hit when you cut him is $22 million in a year. So theirs for Kyler Murray is $30 million. You would take that hit, that $30 million hit, if you commit to the rookie quarterback this year.
So it's $30 million next year
in 2025.
2025. So what? Yeah. So 2024 would be how much again? Dead cap 50.
2024 is dead cap 51, which you're not. It's the same Daniel Jones situation. You really can't cut them this coming up year. You got to cut them in entering 2025.
Yeah, it's gonna be an interesting situation in Arizona. All right, ladies and gentlemen, keep those questions coming in the comment section. We'll start sits, any sort of NFL bets sort of questions. We will answer those as we go throughout the show. Up next, we're going to talk about some guys that you may not be talking about, but you should be talking about. These are our sleepers, Week 10 fantasy football. right, so we were talking a little bit about Mr. Trey McBride. He is on my sleeper list. I think, Kyler Murray coming back from injury, I expect him to kind of, ease him in. That means a lot of targets to the tight end. In games
that was
without...
a major pause right there.
Oh, yeah.
That was a ease him in.
That was a very Troy Aikman, Joe Buck moment there. I do apologize for that, ladies and gentlemen.
That was a major pause right there.
He does have 5+ targets in his last 4 games, and then obviously Kyler Murray coming back. He has a 20+ point fantasy game sprinkled into those last 4 games. He's a guy that they were high on coming out of college. Obviously, he hasn't seen the field as much except during the Zach Ertz injury moments, which seems to be piling up over the last couple of seasons. So I love Trey McBride in this situation. I'm going to go with one of my guys. I usually don't go with a lot of my guys, but I feel like every once in a while I do. I'm going to go with Antonio Gibson. I think Awthentik brought up a lot of good points about Antonio Gibson, points that I kind of been hammering over, the course of the offseason and into this season about Antonio Gibson and the way that they should be using him. He's got 5 receptions in the last 2 games. Each game he's got at least 5 receptions. So that's something I always look for, especially in these PPR league situations. I expect Washington to be trailing for large portions of this game. So I think that you're going to have to use Antonio Gibson in some of these passing down situations. Hopefully they can get some screens going. So I like Antonio Gibson as a sleeper. It's tough in some of these leagues to find running backs right now. I had to pick up Antonio Gibson in one league, and he is playing in my lineup this week. And then last but certainly not least, speaking of Jamar Chase, T. Higgins is not playing for the Cincinnati Bengals in this game. So I'm going to give you a guy, he's like the wide receiver version of Trevor Lawrence, Mr. Trent Irwin. Okay, Trent Irwin is going to be one of my sleepers this week. In week 5, when T. Higgins didn't play, Trent Irwin had 10 targets and had 14 fantasy points in that game. So major. I'm gonna go with Trent Irwin as a sleeper for my rounding out my sleeper section. Awthentik, who you got sleepers this week?
I'm going back to Will Levis again. I told y'all about 3 weeks ago when they were considering starting him. Scoop him up. He ended up putting up 4 touchdowns in that first game. Let me down in that second game, but the eye test is what a lot of people are talking about with Will Levis. Definitely passed the eye test against the Pittsburgh Steelers defense. They were trying to get after him. He was showing anticipation. He was getting rid of the ball quickly. Big, strong arm. I like what I'm seeing out of him as well. He's playing the same Bucs defense that allowed C.J. Stroud to go off, too, for 470 passing yards and 5 whole touchdowns. So I like that matchup right there. Even though the Bucs aren't known to have, a really bad defense, I think they might be in a bit of a funk here. I like Tyler Algier against the Cardinals today as well. The Cardinals have allowed at least 113 rushing yards in 7 of their 9 games. They've also allowed multiple rushing touchdowns in 3 of those games. So I like Tyler Algier today. It's weird because a lot of people just want to expect Bijan Robinson to get all the carries over there, but Tyler Algier's still been getting his fair share over there. So I like Tyler. I like Irv Smith, man, the forgotten man from Minnesota, too, versus the Texans today. Scored a touchdown last week. The Texans defense has allowed 5 top 10 weekly tight end finishes, and the Texans allowed 2 touchdowns to Tampa Bay's tight end last week, Cade Otton. Yes. So I think my man Irv Smith can go off in this game as well. So those are my 3 for today.
Definitely really like the Irv Smith situation. They've been trying to find, that's like the one position that they had CJ, who I don't want to butcher his name. I can never do it right.
I want to say, I was about to say, I was so confident. I was about to be like Uzmanzada.
That's exactly what I was going to do.
Uzoma. I believe it's Uzoma.
I was going to go like it's a combination of TJ Uzmanzada and then and the guys realized that I was going to say the same thing.
Secret of the Uzmanzada.
They've been kind of struggling since he had that one breakout sort of stretch. I want to say that was their first Super Bowl run, and then he got hurt. And then since then, they have just been struggling at that position.
Has he been over there that long though? Because he was with Minnesota when they.
No. I'm just saying that as a whole, they've been struggling to fill that void of that position.
Because they had the kid that the Ravens drafted the same year they drafted Mark Andrews, Hayden Hurst.
Yeah. They had Hayden Hurst. He
saw some success over there. He was all right.
And they had a couple of other guys too that they just been plugging in, some young guys. Will Cox was another guy, and then So they just kind of just been plugging and playing. And like I feel like last week there was like 3 tight ends had multiple catches for the Cincinnati Bengals. So it's interesting. And I've always liked Irv Smith. You know, he's been banged up in his career, but coming out of Alabama, he's a talented tight end. So I really like that pick. Just wanted to double down on that. Did have another question in the chat. Big shout out to Jared McDonald once again. Says Kenneth Walker, Gus Bus, or Jerome Ford. I've been starting Walker, but he's had a couple of rough weeks. This is a really tough one for me. I'm a big Kenneth Walker guy. He's on my team. He's in my starting lineup. But yes, he has had a couple of rough weeks. They've been giving my guy, I can never figure out his last name. I just call him Chardonnay. But they've been giving Chardonnay a lot of love over there lately. They're going up against the Washington Commanders, who obviously don't have a great defense, but that rush defense has been playing really good football over the course of the last 4 to 5 weeks. So that I can understand your concern. Gus Edwards, he's got multiple touchdowns in back-to-back weeks, but that Cleveland rush defense is not to be played with, okay? Yeah. Jerome Ford, love Jerome Ford. You know, obviously there's some vulture sort of situations with Kareem Hunt over there. Jerome Ford has proven to be a really good running back since he's, taken over that role with Nick Chubb going out for the year. But once again, that Baltimore-Cleveland game just feels like a 12-10, 13-6 sort of game to me.
I don't know. It's probably going to be a little ugly, but I don't know.
I could be wrong, obviously. I'm just want to, disclaimer out there. So this is a tough one for me. I think I stick with Kenneth Walker.
Same.
Excuse me. I think I stick with Kenneth Walker.
Yeah, I think, just for one more week, you test Kenneth Walker because he has been a big issue why the Seattle Seahawks offense has not been clicking. When Geno Smith has that run game to be able to sustain drives, that really helps out their pass attack. And lately, they just haven't been able to sustain drives. I still go with Kenneth Walker. If Gus had a better matchup today, the Browns defense is fantastic. If he had a better matchup, I'd absolutely go with Gus. I got to keep Gus Edwards in my lineup today. But I think for you, just go with Kenneth Walker one more week. You might be looking at a 20-point game from Gus and being like a little jealous, but I think you got to just to figure out the landscape for the rest of your fantasy season. I think that'd be the best move.
Big shout out to our guy, one of our biggest, if not the biggest sponsor here at Awthentik and The Beard, giving us all types of awesome stuff to give away and to wear. I think we're going to be debuting some hats from Vintage Sport Flips
for
here
sure.
in the new near future for the $4. Yeah, I'm like future Ravens, Bills. I'm all over the map. Big shout out to my guy Vintage Sport Flips. Make sure you guys follow him here on YouTube, Instagram, whatnot. He is all over the place. He's got awesome stuff. He says, "Hey, Awthentik and The Beard, who would you roll with this week? Lamar Jackson or Jared Goff?"
Give me Jared Goff. That's going to be a barn burner against the Chargers. I just think there's going to be a lot of points in that game. I'd go Jared Goff, 3 touchdowns.
Have to 1,000% agree. Normally, I would always go Lamar just because of the rushing yards. But like I said, I'm going to be hammering that game as far as just trying to stay away from it. And I love the pace of play that you're probably going to see in that Detroit Lions, Los Angeles Chargers game. So I'm also going to go with Jared
Lamar go crazy.
Goff.
It's an interesting week because these are the kind of games that people want to see Lamar Jackson dominate and win against top-tier defenses. Has fell short in the playoffs. Out of the 4 times, 3 times he's lost in the playoffs. People are looking for him to be a big game winner, and especially within his division, because we know Lamar Jackson in the NFC, I believe he's 15-1 career record against the NFC, so it's in the AFC where Lamar has problems. So I'm definitely going to have my eyes on that game today. I'd go Jared Goff, but there's something, a gut feeling telling me Lamar Jackson might go crazy today.
Oh, I hope so, but then I'm like, it's a tough situation to kind of like predict those games. Those AFC North games can just be brutal sometimes for fantasy. Yeah. Big shout out to our guy Connor LaRose. Pick 3, full PPR: Drake London, Calvin Ridley, Scary Terry, Dalton Kincaid, or my guy, your guy, everybody's guy, Sam Laporta.
Laporta been going crazy. Ridley's had the spark when he started, kind of slowed down here a little bit towards the middle portion of the season here. I'm going PPR. Terry McLaurin's been getting a ton of targets the last couple of weeks. I'm going Terry McLaurin, and I think that they're going to be behind on the scoreboard today a little bit. Give me Sam Laporta. It's a toss-up between the last 3. It's a toss-up for real because I like Kincaid. Yeah, give me Kincaid. Big matchup today. I think the Bills are going to go crazy. And Josh Allen's just been playing out of his mind.
I'm gonna go Scary Terry and Laporta for pure target reasons. It's tough for me. I don't like Taylor Heineke throwing the ball to Drake London very much.
Better than the kid Ritter. I'll tell you that much. That boy Ritter been, whew, that boy is on the struggle bus.
I think that Jacksonville San Francisco game is going to be high scoring. I'm going to go Ridley, Terry, and Laporta. That's where I'm going to go for.
Who has scored? And just maybe off the top, you might know this because I don't. Has anybody scored a lot of points against the San Francisco 49ers this year?
Like fantasy-wise or team-wise?
Team-wise. Like I know they had the three losses in a row. Cleveland put up 30 on them, I think.
Cleveland put up 30 on them, yeah. I can tell you really fast because I have it up on my phone.
I'm curious about that because that might be an interesting matchup. Going against the 49ers defense might be a tough task for T-Law today. But then again, like
Rams put up 23.
Yeah, it's not really.
Why do I keep thinking that Cleveland put up 30 points on San Francisco?
What they put on them?
It says 19-17. That can't be right. That's not right.
He said that can't be right.
No, that's not right.
I can get them for you real quick.
Maybe it is right.
Yeah, that is right. Yeah, October 15th, 19-17. Yeah, because I mean, look, like the Bengals put up 31 on them. Yeah. That's really it. See, and that's why I wanted to ask
Vikings put up 22.
That's not a lot of points.
It's not a lot of points, but
yeah, if your team's averaging 22 points on the year, that's actually where y'all are at right now. Is the Washington Commanders? Y'all at 21.2. It's kind of like, like. So I don't know if the 49ers defense has been so good, man. That's such a good defense, and yeah, they might have a lull or two here or there, right? Even in the game where the Rams scored 23, they still end up winning the game. I know you're not a Taylor Heineke fan, but the matchup against the Cardinals, that might yield well for Drake London, man. Like, here's the thing about backup quarterbacks that I've always noticed. They're better at going to the main target than sometimes the starter is in an offense. You look at Tyrod Taylor, how he did it with the New York Giants. A lot of these guys know, like, hey, if that's the man, go right to him, get him the targets. It's why I got a lot of respect for Justin Herbert as a starter. He knows, like, if Keenan Allen's out there on the field, I'm targeting that dude. Like, it's just what it is. So I think I'm going to switch out Kincaid. I'm going Drake London, Sam Laporta, Scary Terry.
I think Drake London's had a pretty consistent last couple of games, right? Nothing like crazy, but I think he's been pretty consistent the last couple of games.
Yeah, since the London matchup, he had the touchdown in London, I remember, and then since then he's been all right. I think he's had one dud type of game.
Yeah, so the London, well, yeah, obviously he went ham against Washington, 9 for 125, and then he had 6 for 54, and then 5 for 55. So he's like hovering around that sort of 10-point. Per game over those last couple of games outside the Washington game. I'm not mad at it. I expect Atlanta to run the ball a lot, though, in this game against that Arizona defense. That's the one thing that I'm kind of looking at. Big shout out.
They can get up on the scoreboard for sure.
Yeah, big shout out to Mike. The realist says, need a starting quarterback. Can't decide between Kyler Murray, Brock Purdy, Will Levis. Please help.
The Will Levis is if you want to gamble, you want to roll the dice for real, because the Bucs defense just allowed C.J. Stroud to go crazy on them through the air. Will Levis is capable. He's very capable, I'm telling you. And he's another one that knows, get that ball to D-Hop. He knows to get the ball to his number one target. So I do like Will Levis. But, like, I think Kyler Murray, maybe scoop him up, keep him on the bench, right? Because like the Beard was talking about earlier, we aren't the type of people that, like, a player come back from a major injury like that and we just go, throw him in the lineup, right? I just can't do that. And the Cardinals have just been awful this year. You got Hollywood being the number one target over there. That's not a good look. So I think it's between Brock Purdy and Will Levis. Brock Purdy is the safe bet, I feel like. They should win this game today. The 49ers should win this game against the Jaguars, and it should be close. So he should be throwing the ball all the way through the fourth quarter. But Will Levis, I just think the upside, a 3-touchdown type of performance today, that might come from Will Levis, whereas like a 1 or 2 touchdown performance might come from Brock Purdy. You came here for the advice. I'm gonna stick to it and say go with Brock Purdy.
Man, I'm gonna go Will Levis. I think that the difference between the two of them, like floor, is not that different. But
I'll tell you why it's very different though. The Titans' offensive line. If you watch the Pittsburgh game, Will Levis was running for his life, and he was having to get rid of the ball extremely early because he didn't have the time. I think Brock Purdy has a little bit more of a foundation up front, and if the 49ers play to their capabilities, it won't be like a fluke. You know what I mean? Whereas with Will Levis, it'll kind of be like, you got to have the right opportunities. Even when he had 4 touchdowns, if you look at the passing yards, they were extremely low. I think he was under 2. He might have been hovering right around 200 yards on 4 touchdowns. And the attempts were low too. So that it just kind of like keeps me weary.
I think I'm gonna go Will Levis. I don't know. I got a crazy feeling though about that matchup. I'm starting to lean more Will Levis.
And you said the floor too, right? When I saw the Will Levis 4 touchdown performance, I was like, oh yeah, I put C.J. Stroud on the bench with 52 points that week, right?
Yeah.
Will Levis gave me 7 points, man. So the floor's not. I can't agree with you that the floors are the same. Brock Purdy is rare. You're gonna get a 7-point game out of Brock Purdy.
True. That's why I didn't say the same. I said there's not that big of a difference. I think in the floors. Kyler Murray. I mean, Brock Purdy's been turning the ball over. 5 interceptions last 3 weeks. I know it's because he hasn't had the offensive line.
One interception in most of those games.
Yeah, so it's you make a great point. What you say is true. Brock Purdy is the safe play. If you want to gamble, go Will Levis. I think we can both agree on that.
And when you look at the games from Brock Purdy the last couple of weeks, they're against teams that they're pressing him to score points. That's the biggest problem. The Browns, great defense. The Bengals, you already know what it is right now. The Bengals are probably the hottest team in the NFL right now. And then the Vikings, obviously, that's a tough loss for them. But yeah, like they can put up points. We know that.
Big shout out to Texas Made in the building. Says Noah Brown over Chris Olave. Nico Collins is out, and Noah Brown has been playing fairly well. Like even with Nico in the game, he's been putting up some pretty good numbers. You're not crazy for thinking it. It's tough though to pull that trigger over a guy like that. Olave, that offense has been so inconsistent in New Orleans. I think you got to stick with Olave for now.
I think I'm going Noah Brown coming off that big game, 153 yards last week. Chris Olave, when I just see that name now, it's almost one of the biggest letdowns of the year, considering how bad or how good he played last year and how he's playing this year. Just definitely a stark difference. And I don't know if that's because Michael Thomas is back on the field, who's been like, I've had Michael Thomas on my bench a couple of weeks, and he's pretty average. He's about 9 to 10 points. Put up his first absolute dud last week. I don't know if he's playing this week.
Got arrested last night.
He did. I don't think that would stop him from I think it was 2 nights ago. But
2 nights ago?
Yeah, and they locked him up, let him go. I don't think it'll mess up his status in the game today, but maybe going forward.
Big
what was
shout
it, like
out
reckless driving or something like that?
No, he like beat up a project manager on like a property manager because they were parking their construction trucks like in front of his house or something like that.
I know I had to deal with something like that just when I moved into the new crib, bro. It was like, yo, why are you in my driveway, dog?
Yeah, but I don't think you threw a brick through their window though, like Mr. Thomas did.
Yeah, I thought about it, bro. I definitely pulled up on him with the hands up, like, "Hey, cuz."
Big shout out to Cookie Monster. Says Jerry Judy or Zay Flowers. Give me Zay Flowers. Oh, I'm a Zay guy.
Zay been
But actually, no, I don't know, man.
Zay been struggling, bro.
Yeah, he has. I'm gonna go Jerry Judy. They're gonna have to throw the ball 50 times in that game against Buffalo. And Russell Wilson's played fairly well.
Yeah, I'll go Jerry Judy.
That's a tough one, though.
It is a tough one. Zay Flowers, like the potential. We want him to be really good. It just last couple of weeks, man.
Ray W. He's got an interesting one. This is a very interesting league. This is a super flex. So you can put quarterback or a running back
That's
here.
Wild.
Kenny Pickett or Saquon Barkley.
I go Saquon. I think Saquon's going to get some volume today. Who knows? Maybe get in the end zone. We ain't got nothing else, man. We ain't got nothing else.
Yeah. So Kenny Pickett's it's kind of tough to watch sometimes. I think he has the potential. He just hasn't blossomed quite yet. I mean, Sam Howell has more touchdowns this year than Kenny Pickett does in his entire career.
So I did peep that. Yeah,
it's kind of interesting because I watch Kenny Pickett play and I see the potential
there. Is that still the case though?
14-13, I think.
Yeah, because the Pittsburgh Steelers last year as a whole team, they had 12 total touchdowns from the quarterback position, which is crazy.
Ooh. Speaking of the Pittsburgh Steelers, Rashid Shaheed or George Pickens?
Man, I really like Shaheed. He's a major playmaker over there. Pickens too, though. Pickens be getting in the end zone. Pickens was kind of in the doghouse after not putting those feet down, though, for me, man. In that last game where he didn't get his feet down in the end zone, it's like you got an easy tap toe tap type of touchdown, don't get it. Damn. Shaheed is my dude, man.
If you want to go Shaheed, I will back you up on it.
It's Saints at Vikings, and then it's who's playing? Steelers play the Packers. Yeah, man. Nah, give me George Pickens. I'm going George Pickens.
George
Packers
Pickens
might be the worst team in the league right now.
All right, I'll give you George Pickens in this one, but don't feel bad if you want to put in Rashid Shaheed.
Oh, he's a beast.
We're both big Shaheed guys, so big shout out to Rashid Shaheed. All right, we're gonna jump into our top plays at each position for the week. We're gonna start it off with the Signal Callers best quarterback plays week 10 in fantasy football. All right, Awthentik, who you got slinging the rock this week, my friend?
All right, man. Like, for the rest of this season is going to be whatever quarterback is going up against my New York Giants. Today is going to be Dak Prescott, who is 11-0. 11 straight wins for Dak Prescott. Has not lost to the Giants since he was a rookie in the NFL. He's got back-to-back 3 touchdown performances. I think he's going to go for another one here, man. This New York Giants defense only plays well, seems to be when the New York Giants offense is playing well. I'm going Josh Allen versus the Broncos. Now, check this out. Y'all know, always talking about the Daniel Jones statistic, 39 straight games without having multiple passing touchdowns in consecutive games. Josh Allen went 5 straight games with multiple passing touchdowns. The streak was just snapped last week versus the Bengals. I expect him to get back on track versus this Broncos defense that has been terrible this year, not only against the run, but also against the pass. They're a bottom third defense on both passing and rushing this year. And last but not least, I'm going Joe Burrow, man. Joe Burrow been on he heard all that contract talk, people making comparisons about Daniel Jones' contract. Like, why y'all ain't giving Joe Burrow no problems, man? Nobody want to bring Joe Burrow no smoke. Joe Burrow has gone now 4 straight games with multiple passing touchdowns. In his last 4 games, this reminds me of what Trevor Lawrence did last year in the middle of the season. 10 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, has had over 280 passing yards in 3 of his last 4 games. Ooh, that was almost an interception by Mac Jones right there. But I'm rounding out my quarterbacks with Joe Burrow. Definitely not Mac Jones.
Yeah, definitely not Mac Jones. Love Joe Burrow. He was on my considerations list. I also have Josh Allen on there. You talked about how bad Denver's pass defense is. They give up the 6th most passing yards per game in the league, 251.8. They've given up the 5th most passing touchdowns this year with 16 touchdowns allowed through the air. So I'm also going Josh Allen. I'm going to go Jared Goff. You know, I like this game. There's not a lot of games with some big high over-unders. This one has an over-under of 48.5 points. So I like Jared Goff in this game. Los Angeles Chargers, they allow the most passing yards per game in the National Football League, allowing 286 yards per game this season. I'm going to round it out with a guy who, good.
Defensive-minded head coach Brandon Staley, and y'all are dead last in passing
and they
yards
got
per
good
game.
guys, too. Santi Samuel, Derwin James. I don't understand
they got some ballers.
I don't understand it.
They got some guys that get after the quarterback. It really don't make no sense.
It makes no sense.
Yeah.
No sense at all. But, I mean, they have played a tough schedule. But, you know, everybody plays a tough schedule at some point this year, right? I'm going to go.
So. That was a wild statement, but I guess so. Everyone plays a tough schedule at some point this year.
I faded it out as I said it.
Joe was like, everyone plays a tough schedule with this.
I'm going to go with my guy, Sam Howell. I mean, he's a top 10 fantasy quarterback.
Sam Howell, Antonio Gibson. What you expected a Washington win today, aren't you?
I mean, I did say I expect them to be trailing for most of the game. But, I mean, Sam Howell's a top 10 fantasy quarterback play every week in and week out. There's no question about it right now. Washington passes the ball 70% of the time, which is ridiculous, but this is a fantasy football show, not a Washington Commanders show. So, I mean, hey, if you're going to pass the ball 70% of the time right now, I mean, go with the guy who's going to give you volume, you know, and I do expect them to be trailing for a lot of the game. So I think, you know, he'll be throwing the ball around a lot. So those are my top quarterback plays for this week. We got a couple of quick questions before we go into the next position. Big shout out to Bryce Ridley. New name, new face, baby. Says, howdy.
Bryce.
Start 2. Ayuk Adams, Deontay, Cooper, or Kirk? Ooh.
Man, Deontay been on a tear since coming back off that hamstring.
And he's
injury.
usually a very anti-play guy.
How
here
you got
at
all these
Awthentik
players
and The
on your
Beard.
squad, bro? How do you got all
Can you
these
trade
players,
some of those to me in my
Christian
league?
Kirk, man, that's a
Ayuk. I love
start
Ayuk
too.
today. I think Ayuk has a huge game. I really like Ayuk in this week. Debo's back. That makes me like Ayuk even more. I don't like Amari Cooper. I love.
You really don't like Amari Cooper. I
Yeah.
think that.
Well, this matchup, I've given him a little bit of love lately, but I just,
Yeah.
I love Amari Cooper as a player.
You don't.
What do you mean? I don't.
Man,
I'm not
guarantee if you
Dwayne.
look back through that old 70s spiral notebook you got over there, you got Amari Cooper in the sit-em section at least 3 weeks this year. At least, bro. I guarantee it. I guarantee it.
No lies told. No lies
Yeah,
told.
right?
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go Ayuk and Kirk.
That's the husband who don't show his wife no love, but babe, I love you. That's what that is right there.
Ayuk and Kirk for me.
You know I love you, right? I'm going with two dudes in the same game here. Give me Ayuk, give me Christian Kirk. That way you could keep your eyes on that matchup. It'll be a real fun one to watch.
We're doubling down. That's an easy one for you. We both agree there. And then he's coming back with another one. Little tight end question. Hawkinson or Schultz?
Hawkinson.
I love Schultz. Schultz has just been really great pickup for the Houston Texans this year. TJ Hawkinson is a stud, but he is banged up. They might limit him today. I think you go Schultz. I expect that Texans-Bengals game to be pretty high-paced.
Yeah, and quarterback situation as well, I think, is very important here. Yeah, I like Schultz in this matchup, although, man, yeah, I like Schultz. I'll go Schultz in this matchup.
Big shout-out to our guy, C-Bands. Never stay lacking, 45. What's going on? Do I go James Conner or Najee Harris? That's a
I
tough
wonder if the C-bands never stay lacking. Is it the 45? Like, he never lacking with a 45? What does the name mean? What does it mean, C-bands? What does it mean? I need to know the meaning behind this 15 to 20 character name you got going on here.
His name's probably C-Bands, I'd imagine. That's his rap name.
C-bands.
And, you can't be lacking if you're rapping.
And then the 45.
And then the
Born in
45.
1945, you're OG.
Or you got a Colt 45.
Yeah, I'm thinking 45. Or he got a Colt. What is this, 1989? He got a Colt 45?
Well, I mean, if he's
Malt
from
liquor?
45, he probably drinks Colt 45, right?
40, maybe it's a double entendre. He 45 and he drink it. Or maybe it's a triple entendre.
Yeah, maybe he's got a Colt
Bars.
45 with a 45, and he's from 45, and
now
you
we're
can't
going quadruple. You added another one here. You took it too far.
can't be lacking. If you're drinking Colt 45, you don't want to be lacking. You know what I'm saying?
Nobody drinking a Colt 45 is lacking. I can tell you that much.
I don't know, man. There's some
I'm
guys
telling
over
you.
here in Northeast on the
I dare
corner.
you pull up on one of them bums and beat your ass.
Najee's been hot since the bye week. Double-digit fantasy points in every matchup since the bye week. James Conner's coming off the injury.
Yep.
When he's healthy, he is a stud. But is he 100%? That's to be determined. But it's always tough for me to go Najee over somebody like James Conner. I'm going to go James Conner.
I'm going Najee, man. Going up against them Packers. They're a bad football team.
Shout out to Kai pointing it out. It's also 11:45.
Man, that's just crazy.
Quintandra? Did we call that a Quintandra?
Quintandra. I like that. Quintandra.
Oh, speaking of running backs, let's go ahead and run into our next section, the top running back plays in Week 10 fantasy football. All right, Awthentik, tell me what you got for the top running backs.
Nah, it's not the sleeper section, but the way I was looking when we just came back. Man. All right, man, I'm going CMC at the Jacksonville Jaguars. He's got 13 total. The man got 13 total touchdowns on the year already. We just halfway through the season. It's kind of ridiculous. I also, before I get to Tony Pollard, rushing touchdown in every game for CMC so far, has over 17 fantasy points in all but 2 games this year. He has finished outside the top 12 running backs in weekly scoring only 1 time this year. The Jaguars have allowed the most receptions to running backs this year. CMC top of the charts this week, guaranteeing it, book it, as everybody would say. I like Tony Pollard going up against the Giants, and let me tell you why. Tony Pollard has not scored a touchdown since the last time he played the New York Giants, which was week 1. He averaged 5 yards per carry in that game, and he had 2 touchdowns. I like Tony Pollard this week. Maybe this is that breakout big game we've been waiting for from Tony Pollard all season long. The explosive play's been down, man. The big play rate has been down. Maybe today against that New York Giants defense, it might be able to get one. And I also like Breece Hall going up against the Raiders. I liked Saquon Barkley going up against the Raiders last week, but they didn't commit to the run the way that they should have. Over his last 4 games, Breece Hall has averaged 20 touches and 110 total yards. Raiders have the 31st rank. They were 30th when the Giants played them. They have the 31st rank rush defense in the entire league. They're allowing 138.7 yards per game. So give me a lot of Breece Hall today, especially with Zach Attack back at quarterback again.
I'm going to double down on a couple of the same ones. CMC is a must play. The over-under in that game is 44.5. He's averaging 26.4 fantasy points per game. And you talked about all those games over the 17. We're gonna take it even higher. He's over 20 in 6 of his 8 games fantasy points this year. It's crazy production from him. I also really like Tony Pollard. They're a 17+ point favorite depending on where you're getting your lines at.
Crazy,
yeah,
man.
It is.
God.
So in similar situations when he's been the running back and the Cowboys have been 16-point favorites, which in this case are 17-point favorites, he's averaging 16.5 points in those situations, and he is going up against the number 23 ranked run defense in the New York Football Giants. Listen, we're going to talk about Pollard having a breakout game. Can we get a Bijan breakout game? He's been kind of like MIA the last few weeks. I'm expecting a big game from Bijan Robinson going up against Arizona's number 29 ranked run defense. They allow the 5th most yards to running backs and the 3rd most fantasy points to running backs to Arizona Cardinals. So I expect Bijan to have a big game here.
That's a Cowboys fan saying don't trust him.
Yeah.
He also said I almost threw up when I heard that 17.5. Yeah, bro. Not a good look. Not a good look. Man, maybe we cover today. We'll see, man. We'll see.
Hey, listen, that'd be great for you guys. You know, small victories. You can cover and you keep your draft status as most people are rooting for. Raiders cornerback Marcus Peters, who's listed as questionable with a knee injury, is expected to play today versus the Jets per source. Big shout out to Marjorie. We appreciate all the reporting in the chat. All right, let's go ahead and jump into the next section. Our top wide receiver plays for Week 10 fantasy football. All right, it's time. It's time. There's no Amari Cooper. I don't have CeeDee Lamb in here.
On that one. On that one.
I do have the Sun God, though. I love this Chargers-Lions game. I love Amon-Ra St. Brown in this game. He's averaging 22.3 fantasy points per game. He has 31 receptions in his last 3 games. So I love Amon-Ra St. Brown in this game, going up against, obviously, that Chargers defense that gives up the most passing yards in a game this season. So I like Amon-Ra St. Brown. I like Stephon Diggs. Bad pass defense we talked about already in the Denver Broncos. And he's got at least 6 catches in every single game. So, I mean, if you can count on a guy to get you 6 points without doing anything else every single game, that's a good number for me. And my kind of like guy that probably doesn't belong to most people, but kind of just snuck in here because of a...
Better not be a Commander.
Well, no, he's not a Commander. I've reached my status quo for Commanders in fantasy football. I'm going to go with my guy, Tank Dell. Once again, I really like the pace of play in this game. I like the Texans and the Bengals to put up some big numbers in this game. No Nico Collins, we talked about a little bit earlier. Tank Dell's averaging 15 points per game, and he's coming off of a huge week, 2 touchdowns, 100 and something plus yards. So I really like Tank Dell to continue that stretch in this game. Those are my top 3 wide receiver plays this week.
I hope this helps out some of the Texans fans, like Cernoc's a Texans fan, right?
Yep.
And who's the homegirl that won the jersey one time? Is that
Kelly, the econ mom.
The econ mom, she's also a Texans fan. Tank Dell, he ain't going to be a top 3 wide receiver this week. Ain't no way. Book it, all right, Beard? There's just no way. Absolutely not. You left off the guy that's going to be at the top of the whole fantasy wide receiver category. It's going to be CeeDee Lamb, bro. Come on now. He can become the first player ever with 10 or more receptions and at least 150 yards receiving in 3 straight games. that's history on the line right now. Dak Prescott been playing some of his best football. Forget some of his best football the past 2 weeks. I'm definitely going CeeDee Lamb at the top. I'm going to go these next two they're going to be right there. I'm going to go Keenan Allen versus the Lions in the number 2 position. Has had at least 9 targets in all but one game. You know me, man. Like, I played wide receiver out here on these 2-hand touch teams. That's the kind of volume I'm looking for. Like, yo, I'm open every play. I don't care who's checking me. I'm open. Throw me the ball. Keenan Allen. Detroit has also allowed the second highest PPR points and the most receiving touchdowns to all slot wide receivers. So when Keenan Allen's in the slot, watch out for that. Third, I got Stephon Diggs versus the Broncos. It's the Broncos, man. The Broncos just are not a good football team. Stephon Diggs ranks top 3 in receptions, receiving yards, and touchdowns right now. He has at least 1 touchdown in 2 of his last 3 games. Broncos have the 27th ranked pass defense, allowing 251 yards per game. Their rush defense is ranked dead last. They're allowing 154 yards per game. So I don't know. The Bills really aren't a rushing team, but maybe this will be the day where you get to see the quarterback kind of add his volume to the rushing attack as well. But I still think Stephon Diggs rounds out the top 3 wide receiver category.
It's going to be an interesting week for some of these wide receivers. That's
Jonathan
for sure.
Taylor just got in the end zone.
Oh, yeah.
Little interesting little celebration, too. I like that. It was kind of nice.
Before we pick these games, since you said that, I have a nice little Jonathan Taylor lineup going in this game. It's just players from this game, showdown.
Actually, I might be wrong on that. He scored the first one, not the second one. It was running back a highlight.
Yeah, I'm not even cashing right now.
He looked at it like, oh,
thanks a lot, Awthentik. Appreciate it, bud.
Anytime, bro. Anytime.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to run through each and every single game. It is time for rapid fire here on Awthentik and The Beard. Oh, yeah. Drop the bomb on him. Are you ready, sir?
Sure.
All right. Well, we talked about this game. We talked a lot about this game already today. We're going to start it off. Listen, like I said, ladies and gentlemen, be prepared. There is a lot of low-scoring under-overs, but there are some really good games. We're going to start it off with a little old-school AFC, one team used to be the other team sort of situation, AFC Central matchup. Cleveland Browns are 5-3. They are headed to Baltimore, face the Ravens, who are 7-2. The Ravens are a 6.5-point favorite. The over-under in this game is a disgusting 38.5 points. Kickoff is at 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm going to take the Ravens to win. I don't think they cover that, though. I just think it's going to be a close game. Maybe a 6-point game, maybe. So I'm going to take the Ravens to win, the Browns to cover, and I'm going to take the under 38.5.
Man, like 3-4 years ago, this matchup between Deshaun Watson and your boy Lamar Jackson would be an amazing one. And I think a lot of people are sleeping on this one. I think this one is going to be a little bit of a high-scoring game. I'm going to take the over 38.5, and I'm with you on this. I think that the Ravens are not going to cover the 6.5. I think Cleveland will be in this game close. It'll probably be a 4-point victory for the Baltimore Ravens. Give me the Ravens in the dub.
Up next, another game, another under 40 over-under. The Green Bay Packers are 3-5. They're headed up to Pittsburgh and face the Steelers, who are 5-3. They are 3.5-point favorites. The over-under is 38.5. Kickoff is at 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Awthentik, tell me what you got.
Give me the Pittsburgh Steelers, man. That defense, they know how to get after young quarterbacks. I'll take the under 38.5, though, most definitely. These two teams definitely not known for scoring a lot of points. I think the Pittsburgh Steelers will probably win this one like a good, I don't know, maybe like 21-10, I'd say, something like that. So I think they cover the 3.5, and they'll walk away with a victory.
That entire division is over 500, right? 5-3 Steelers, 5-3 Browns, 7-2 Ravens, 5-3 Bengals.
It's tight. Bengals had that slow start. The Bengals should be at the top of that division. They're definitely the scariest team in that division right now.
Yeah, it's interesting to look at that division as a whole. Man, Green Bay has let me down time and time again this year.
Yeah, you and my homie Mike C were both like, after 3 weeks of football, like, Jordan Love, man. I'm telling you, Jordan Love.
I still believe in Jordan Love. I just,
believing in him is one thing, but the evidence that's been presented on the field
Yeah,
to
not
the
so
jury.
good.
It's not been good the last 3 to 4 weeks here.
No, it's not been good. I'm going to take the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think Green Bay covers, though. This is a 3-point victory for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm going to take the under 38.5.
This is one that watch. Like, if Jordan Love and the Packers offense can get anything going, they could easily win this game. That's all. It's really dependent on that offense. Like, if they can come out there and score 17 points, you'll have yourself a ball game. But I'm just Steelers defense, man. The way that they get after these young quarterbacks reminds me of Bill Belichick early on.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting matchup to kind of watch those sort of players on the field. All right, our first big game of the day is going to be the San Francisco 94ers are 5-3. They're 3-point favorites. They're headed to Duval. Face the Jacksonville Jaguars, who are 6-2. Over under 4.5. Almost C-bands at the over-under there. And kickoff is at 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
44.5. I like that. I like that.
I think San Francisco loses another game. This losing streak continues. I'm going to take the Jacksonville Jaguars to win this game, and I'm going to take the over 44.5.
Give me the San Francisco 49ers. They'll cover that 3 as well. And I'll take I'm going to go under the 44.5. Defense is going to give Trevor Lawrence problems today.
It's going to be interesting. Shout out Chase Young. Let's see what Chase Young can do in his debut for the San Francisco
Speaking of that
49ers.
real quick, and let me just see. Okay, yeah, because that game already got played. Montez Sweat. Okay, a lot of people had a lot to say about Montez Sweat in this game with the Chicago Bears. First game dressing with them and whatnot. They're like, 0 tackles, 0 sacks. He had 8 pressures on the quarterback, man. People got to understand, man. It's more than just sacks. And it's more than just tackles, bro. Like that little montage they put together, dude was everywhere.
And you want to know what's crazy? They were so trying to push that narrative. They were like, I saw people on Twitter saying, the pressures is a horrible stat. It doesn't really mean anything. It doesn't say anything. I mean, you can get pressure from the inside and leave your contain on the outside. That's just what they were.
That's what the voice sounds like in your mind, right?
That's exactly what it sounds like to me. But yeah, I totally agree with you. People are crazy. There's just no other way around.
Yeah, it's facts, man. Montez Sweat, best of luck to him in Chicago, man. I think he's going to be a guy. That contract, I think, is going to be looked at in a couple of years as, we won this trade for sure.
Yeah, I'd love Montez Sweat and wish him the best of luck. Next game, couple of surprise 5-4 teams. The New Orleans Saints, they're 5-4. They're 3-point favorites. They're headed up to Minnesota to face the Vikings, who are 5-4. Over under in this game, not too bad, 40.5. Kickoff is at 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Awthentik, tell me what you got.
I'm taking the under right off the bat. I think that this offense for the Minnesota Vikings is a little bit inflated after what they saw Josh Dobbs do last week. I just got a Bleacher Report update that said Josh Dobbs walked to the wrong locker room in the Viking Stadium because he's not familiar with the facilities right now. So I'm definitely taking the under in this one. The Saints aren't known to be putting up a lot of big points either. I think Minnesota comes back down to earth in this game. Give me the Saints. Give me the Saints to cover the 3, but I'm going to take the under 40.5.
This is a tough game for me. I think the Saints have more weapons right now on the field offensively, so I'm going to take the Saints. I'll take the Saints to cover. That over-under is dicey. Saints have a pretty good defense, but
yeah,
I'm going to take the under 40.5. Up next, this is a game I am excited to watch. The Houston Texans, 4-4. Finally. I mean, I've been pushing Texans for like 4 years.
You have.
And they're finally here, thanks to a phenomenal performance from their rookie quarterback, a guy who I think both you and I said was the best quarterback in this draft. Correct me if I'm not.
I don't think I ever said who was the best quarterback in this draft. I know I didn't say that. I can't vouch for you either. I don't remember.
I have the receipts. Feel free to check those receipts at any point in time.
I pulled some CJ Stroud receipts though for show last week.
Yeah,
I was like,
I saw.
I pulled tweets from the summertime where I was like, dude looks NFL ready. Looks like he's going to have a big year, and the Texans might surprise some people. I don't know if I thought quite to this kind of capability here at 4-4, man. Big game here.
Good.
To me, this is a defining game for them. Like, at 4-4, you could possibly make a bit of a playoff run here. The AFC is a lot more tougher, obviously, right? But at 4-4, you can make a run here. And if you can beat a team like the Bengals, I think that shows you that not only is the quarterback ready, but the surrounding pieces around him are ready. They really don't got big weapons over there with the Houston Texans. I saw y'all talking about no Nico Collins today, but C.J. Stroud has just been able to manage to get it done with the lack of weapons and not really a great running game over there either. Love what D'Amico Ryans is doing with this young team, man. I think that in a couple of years, they're going to be really making a push. For this game, I got to take the Bengals, though, man. I think that the Houston Texans are going to fall to 4-5 here. Bengals will improve to 5-4. 46.5 is a lot of points, but both of these teams have been putting up a lot of points. I'm going to take the over just off the strength of gut feeling because I got C.J. Stroud back in the lineup today. I missed out on the 52-point game last week. Give me a good 20, my man. Come on.
You think Cincinnati covers the 6?
Yeah, I do.
All right, I'm going to take the Cincinnati Bengals to win this game. I think Houston covers. I think this is a close game. I think Houston covers in this game. I'm going to take the over 46.5. Man, they're going to look back at some point in this season. The Texans are going to look back at that Carolina loss as the one that really got away. If they end up like 9-8, 8-9 sort of situation, they're going to look back at that game as a tough loss. Speaking of a couple of teams under 500, you got the Tennessee Titans. They're 3-5. They're headed to Tampa Bay with mayonnaise in their coffee. The Buccaneers are also 3-5. They're 3-point favorites. Over under in this game, 39.5. Kickoff is at 1:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is a very tough game for me to pick.
Oh my God, Mac Jones. Are you kidding me?
No, he's not kidding you if it's Mac Jones. Mac Jones doesn't kid. He just plays bad football.
They were in the red zone with 4 minutes left, down by 4 points. He got some pressure and threw an interception. I think it was a tip pass.
The New England Patriots are about to be 2-8. Can't help you guys. Can't help you guys. I'm gonna go. Give me Tampa Bay to win. I don't like -3. I think Tampa Bay wins by 3 points, and give me the under 39.5.
I'm gonna take the Titans in this one, man. The Bucs, man, definitely been scoring some points, but how many have they've lost 3 straight now?
Yeah, it's been tough.
4 straight. They've lost 4 straight. They started off 3-0 and lost 4 straight. Nah, this might be a get right game. This might be a get right game. I'm gonna take that back. Give me the Bucs in this one. They scored 37 points last week in a loss. C.J. Stroud just went absolutely crazy. So give me the Bucs in this one. This is tough. Yeah, they'll cover the 3. And I'll take the over 39.5. I think Will Levis going to light it up today, but it'll be a high-scoring affair where the Bucs get the dub.
I'm a little bit regretting under 39.5, but I think we get to like 38 points total. Next game, this one. This is tough for me. Detroit Lions, 6-2. 3-point favorites. They're going to L.A. face the Chargers, who are 4-4. Over under 40.5. Kickoff is at 4:05 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Awthentik, what do you got in this one?
I think, man, God, the Lions are the better team because the Chargers, for one, they started off slow with the 0-2 start and just been losing games where you just be like, how are they losing that game? 2 times in a row, they've lost to the Dallas Cowboys now. I thought that that's a matchup that they should win. This is going to be a pivotal game for both teams, especially for the Chargers, because if they're trying to make a playoff push here in the AFC, they definitely got to find a way to win this game. I still think the Lions are the better squad. I'm going to take the Lions in this one. What was the over-under in this?
It's 48.5.
I'm going to take the under 48.5 in this one. Give me the Lions to win this one outright, though.
I'm going to take the over 48.5. I think this is going to be an absolute shootout here. I love the Lions. I love the Chargers. Chargers are playing on a roll. Lions are on a bye. This game is so tough for me to pick.
Yeah.
In L.A., Jared Goff's from L.A. Give me the Chargers. Give me the Chargers to win this game. I think it's going to be a close game, though. Give me the Chargers and give me the over. Next.
I'm going 30. Let me see. Yeah, I'm going to flip on this. I'm taking the over as well. It's going to be a high-scoring game. This is going to be tight to the fourth quarter, something like 35-31.
Up next, Atlanta Falcons, 4-5. Shout out C-Bands, never stay lacking. They're 2.5-point favorites.
Gardner Minshew, oh my God, what a play. What a play. Yo, he's swagging. He's swagging right now,
Did it amount to points? Because he's my quarterback this week.
It should have got you the points. It's about a 30-yard pickup on a huge third down with 2 minutes, 38 seconds left, up by 4. He dropped a pass right in the bucket right here.
You know, I love my mustache
Pocket
magic.
manipulation. Quarterbacks, if you're looking at this game right now, that Gardner Minshew pocket manipulation, oh my God, a beautiful little post route on the sidelines, diving catch. Beautiful, beautiful. I think that's Downs that made the catch there. Whew. Major, love it. I love it. I love to see good football. What is it? The mustache magic. Let's go.
There you go, mustache magic. Atlanta Falcons 4-5. They're 2.5-point favorites against the 1-8 Arizona Cardinals. Kyler Murray makes his return. Over/unders 43.5. Kickoff is at 4:05 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Awthentik, who you got?
I'm rooting for Kyler Murray, man. Like, I'm really rooting for him. You know, dude coming back off a major knee injury. You saw the little piece of content they put out documenting how difficult that is to come back from those type of injuries. Dude had to wait 10 weeks to get on the football field, man. He was injured in, I think, like week 12 or 13 or something like that last season. Give me the Arizona Cardinals in a high-scoring fashion. Plus, I need the Cardinals to start winning some games. You know what I'm saying? I ain't for the tank, but I'm for the tank, if you know what I'm saying. So, yeah, let me take the Arizona Cardinals outright in this one. I'm going to take the over 43.5 as well.
Yeah, I'd like to see the Falcons lose. You know, they're going to be one of those teams that's going to be, you know, sticking around with Washington for that last playoff spot. I'm also rooting for Kyler Murray, so I think I am going to go with the Arizona Cardinals to win this game. I'm going to take the under 43.5. Under 43.5. All right, up next, we got a couple of back-to-back NFC East matchups. The Washington Commanders, they're 4-5, looking to get back to 500.
Your background music a little early.
I saw that. They're headed up to Seattle. I watched this really funny video. It was put out last year. The Seahawks tricked their own players by pre-releasing a schedule, and they made like a crazy schedule for them, and all the players were losing their minds. They were like, we got to play on Christmas and Thanksgiving, no bye week after Germany. We have 4 away games in a row. It was hilarious.
That's crazy.
But yeah, listen, this game is going to be tough for the Commanders. I picked them to win, so I'm going to stick with it.
I'm not mad at you for picking them to win either.
I think they've been playing really well. The offense, even though they're still passing 70% of the time, the offense has looked more balanced the last couple of weeks. I'm worried about
even though they're not balanced, they still look more balanced.
Like you know what I mean. They're heading in the right direction. I'm worried about this defense, though, not being able to get pressure on Geno Smith and allowing him time to sit back there with guys like DK Metcalf and Lockett. It worries me heavily. So I'm going to take Washington to win in the upset. I'm going to stick with my pick. But I would not be surprised if Seattle dominates this game, to be perfectly honest with you. I'm going to take the over 44.5.
This one's tough, man. If you get the Seattle Seahawks, we're accustomed to seeing they should win this game. But if you get that flat Seattle Seahawks team that can't run the ball, then I think the Commanders are going to win this game actually convincingly. I just got to think that this is a get-right game for Geno Smith as a passer, though. I'm going to take the Seattle Seahawks in this one. I think it'll be closer than what they got here at 6. I think Washington will cover that. So I'll take the over. Washington covers the 6. Seattle wins the game.
Up next, the New York Football Giants are heading down to Texas to face the Cowboys, who are 5-3, who are I've not seen a line like this in a very long time. 17.5-point favorites with an over-under of 38.5. So they basically think that you guys are going to score,
3 points.
Yeah, basically. So I'm going to take the Dallas Cowboys, despite what Marcus thinks in the chat. Shout out, Marcus. I am going to take the Dallas Cowboys to win this game. I would never, ever take teams to cover spreads like this.
41. They're going to up the ante, Greg. That's how you feeling? 41 instead of 40? That will
41
be
41-0?
Oh, no, this one is at Dallas, so this one's different. The 40 was the most points they've scored on the road in a road victory. Who you got, Beard? Who you got?
I'm going to take Dallas. I'm going to take Dallas to cover, and I'll take the under 38.5.
Mike Fiore said Giants money line. Okay.
That's probably
free Tommy DeVito season. I know that's right. I like that, man. Yeah, 17 is crazy, but look. This is the Dallas Cowboys, man. They, with all the starters for the New York Giants on the field, the Dallas Cowboys beat us 40-0. I got to say they cover the 17.5 here, man, unless they take their foot off the gas. Stephen White, that's a good score right there. 38-9 is kind of right. I'm going to go with Stephen White on this one, man. I'll go 38-9 even seems like too much for the Giants.
I think
I'll go 38-9.
They get 6 and they fail the 2-point conversion.
Yeah.
That's probably what happens.
I don't even know if we get down there and score a touchdown. I'm going to say it's going to be 2 field goals.
Man, what quarter do we see Cooper rush? Do we see Trey Lance in this game?
Definitely not. What quarter do we see Cooper rush? The over-under on Cooper rush playing is crazy. I'm gonna say we don't see Cooper Rush in this game. Dak Prescott kneeling the ball out towards the end.
Okay, because you might see Cooper Rush play the whole fourth quarter.
God, come on, dog. Come on. You was trying to find ways for us to win
I
this game.
was. I mean, listen, but there's been a lot of backlash towards my Dallas Cowboys.
There has been. There definitely has been.
I'm trying to lean off of it a little bit. A big shout out to the New York Jets. They're 4-4. How God only knows. They're 1-point favorites. They're headed to Vegas to face the Raiders, who are 4-5. Over under in this game, a disgusting 36.5. For Sunday Night Football, they added the ability to flex out of this game, and they decided not to. I don't know why. There's tons of games that could have flexed in here. Chargers, Lions, Jacksonville, San Francisco, just to name a few. I'm going to take the Vegas Raiders to win this game. I will take the over. I think we get more than 36.5 here.
You know, if this was the Josh McDaniels Raiders, I would pick the Jets to win this game. But the way the Raiders came out and played against the Giants last week with Antonio Pierce at coach and the way they just look recharged, new quarterback, new coach, I'm telling y'all, man, like that can really change a whole outlook and the way that a team is playing especially when you swap out the quarterback and now you're swapping out the head coach. I typically would take the Jets in this game. That Jets defense is really good, though. They're not that great against the run, but against the pass, they're really good. Aiden O'Connell's probably going to have trouble throwing the ball, probably get a pick six or some kind of turnover in this game for the Jets. The Jets are just favored by 1. It's really a pick 'em. Damn, man, I want to pick. Listen, I can't get fooled by the smoke of how the Raiders beat the New York Giants, because New York Giants are a bad team this year. I'm taking the Jets in this one outright. I'll take the Jets. I'll take the over 36.5 as well.
Big shout out to our Cowboys Nation in the chat. COD001, I did get your DM for the trivia prize, so you are good to go. And Marcus says, no, that's not the one I want to say. He says every time the Beard takes the Cowboys, he starts stuttering.
That's a fact right there. That is a fact right there. Hey, I'm glad y'all said it, not me. You know, when I say it, he just said, nah, man, definitely not. Obviously, I just think.
All right, we're going to close it out with Monday Night Football. The Denver Broncos are 3-5. They're headed up to Buffalo, who is 5-4. They need to win a game here. The Bills are 7-point favorites. Over under in this game is 46.5. Kickoff is at 8:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Give me the Bills. Give me the Bills to cover, and I'll take the over 46.5.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, man. Give me the Bills. This should be complete domination. Broncos going to try to put up a little fight here, probably get some garbage time touchdowns, maybe 1 or 2, but give me the Bills to cover. I'm taking the over in this one. Bailey Zappi at quarterback for the New England Patriots here. I don't know if they put Mac on the bench or if he got hurt, but from what I'm seeing,
according to the chat, he got benched.
Yeah, they gave him the hook, man. They said, watch this hook right here. Get over here, cuz.
He's just, listen, man.
Bailey Zappi on 3rd and 5 converts with 1:38 left.
I said it from the beginning. They should have went with Zappi to begin with and then let the young boy get some reps in behind him.
Malik Cunningham.
That's what I'm saying. Let Malik.
No, that's not what I'm saying, though. Okay. I would have went with him as the starter. Man. Cut this OG, hey, we got to get this drop back passer and get these guys out of here. Bailey Zappi is pretty much Mac Jones with a smaller frame and a little bit more legs. Less arm, I'd say, too. He's out here struggling as well. Almost took a sack. 2nd and 10, minute 20 left.
Is Bill Belichick done in New England?
After the season, quite possibly, yeah. I think you guys might hire him.
No, not a chance. But
over there with his arms crossed. Look at Bill.
Did you see the video of him walking outside without his shirt on in the ring?
I didn't see it, but I heard you talking about it at the beginning of the show. I didn't see it. No.
Yeah.
Why was he doing that?
He was apparently he was doing a little walk of shame.
Why was Dad outside with no shirt on?
Ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate all the love and all the support. We hope you guys had a good time here on the Parlay. Hope you guys got some good information, make some winning lineups. We're getting down to the nitty-gritty here in season-long fantasy football. I'm looking to cash in some daily lineups this week. I didn't set any lineups for DraftKings. I said, you know what? I'm going to wait and make sure. I'm going to digest all the information I get from you guys in the chat, from my amazing co-host here, Awthentik, and then I'm going to go and just build some lineups really quick, and then I'm going to go to Costco, and then I'm going to come back.
Go to Costco, hit the Home Depot.
Yeah, then I'm going to come back and settle in,
Target.
Nah. They don't got all those around here. They got
all that around here. I'm hyped.
They got a Costco. That's about it. Costco and 17 liquor stores. Couple 7-Elevens.
I know all about that Northeast life. Ooh, the Patriots go for it on 4th and 1. Did they get it? Looked like they might have got it there, man. Drive still alive, right around midfield. They're at their own 41.
But, big shout out to everybody in chat. We appreciate all the love, all the support, everybody watching us on Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, and, of course, right here on the YouTubes. Awthentik.
Y'all know what it is, man. Hope y'all have a great day in fantasy football. Bailey's happy interception. Game over. Yeah, man, enjoy y'all football games. If you're not a team of the New York Giants, I'm sure you guys are rooting for your team to get a W today. We got our guy, Tommy DeVito, quarterback. It's going to be an extremely tough day against the Dallas Cowboys. But best of luck to all y'all other fans out there, 100%. Y'all know how we end every show over here, man. Keep raising that bar. Keep living those dreams, because the universe flows in Technicolor and surround sound. Rest in peace to the podcast GOAT, Mr. Combat Jack himself. And that's a wrap, man. I'm looking forward to this slate of games, and also I'll be on Bleacher Report at around 7:30 if y'all want to check out the post-game stream after the Dallas Cowboys handle business against my New York Giants. Y'all be good, man. We'll catch y'all on the next episode. Peace.